But this time, this is going to be a serious show because I have a guest here today that, you know, tragedy has struck this man. And I think you're going to find his story very fascinating because, you know, for me, it was like a movie. It's like I'm watching, you know, like The Innocent Man with Tom Selleck. And yeah, I know you're going, what movie is that? But anyway, I would like to introduce Raymond Gilbert. How you doing, Raymond?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Well, first of all, you know, good to see you, Ray, because, like, as I said, you know, we're involved in social media, you know, and everything like that. And people were talking about your story on the pages, and you were like, as you have been doing, going around, I think for the past 6 years, you know, proclaiming your case. And I mean, I want you to pretty much tell us all about it, you know, because in '81, something tragic happened,
Yes.
right? In Toxteth here in Liverpool, and you were involved with, and then like, well, it totally rocked your world. It turns it upside down and everything. So why don't you set the scene for us, Ray?
Uh, in March 1981, 13th of March, a betting shop manager called was found murdered in a betting shop on Lodge Lane. Uh, People were originally arrested as suspects, but within a number of hours, they were eliminated from the inquiry. Uh, I was then arrested on Monday, the 16th of March, 1:30 in the afternoon on Lodge Lane. I was taken to Admiral Street police station where I was told I was arrested on suspicion of murder. I was shocked. I mean, I was already on bail signing on at the same police station every night, so I thought to myself, well, if you are looking for me, why haven't you just picked me up when I'm signing on? So I got questioned twice when I was in the cells, asked where I was staying. I told them I was staying in the girl's house on Mill Street. Uh, Asked me a few more questions, went away, come back, asked me some more, went away, come back. And then the first major interview was in a holding cell where they produced two photo fits, which they said was me and my co-accused. I said, they don't look not like me. I said, they look like people I know. I said, but I've got no idea who they are. So the police were adamant that it was me and my co-accused, and they were going on and on and on. And they were playing the bad cop and the good cop. And during this third interview, I was grabbed by one of them, and we had a struggle, which we both went to the floor. They got up, ran out the room, come back about 5 minutes later and said, on that basis, you're the man responsible. So they were adamant. They weren't letting me go until they got a confession. It's you, it's you. Even when I even denied it, they were still adamant it was me.
Now this is like 48 hours later now, coming up to, right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like, now we've seen this in movies all the time, you know, and everything. And especially at this time, I mean, we're talking about '81. It's before the riots, right? But, you know, the boiler pot of the community was pretty much, like, tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I think Toxteth then at the time was a melting pot because...
A boiler pot, meaning like the racism.
Yes, yes. I had a cousin who was dating the kid at the time. He was the main reason why the riot went off. And there was a couple of times he actually seen him get stopped on the Granby Street, and next minute the police are surrounded by hundreds wanting to just take them out. It was such a melting pot. You could do anything in Liverpool. And as soon as you reached the top of Upper Parliament Street, the police wouldn't go in. It was a no-go zone for police, the whole of Liverpool. They would not go in, so you could do whatever you wanted, and they weren't saying nothing. I mean, I didn't really have that much experience at the time because I actually grew up in Care. I in West Derby, and so I was with a family that wasn't my dad's side. I went down to Liverpool late in 1978 when I came out of prison after doing 6 months for being a passenger in a stolen car.
Yeah.
Anybody from Liverpool who was got nicked for anything Liverpool late, you didn't get bail. You were going to jail. The chief police officer, who was for the black coloured Association for Police admitted in paperwork we found in the undisclosed stuff that the police were blatantly targeting the Toxteth community at that time.
Yeah.
So you could understand people coming out, getting stopped for whatever, nothing. It was just mad.
Yeah. So now the thing about it is let's get back to why they picked you up, because like, we're talking about the murder of a betting shop owner, right? And like by two people,
Yeah.
right? And everything. And so the police have to solve this, of course.
That's right, yeah. We found in the undisclosed evidence, me and my wife went through the undisclosed, and we come up with some things we couldn't believe, that if it had been available at the time to the defence at trial, the case would have been dismissed. There was suspects who give themselves alibis by saying they were with each other at a certain time, and they're supposed to have took a journey from Selborne Street in Toxteth to town to drop a car back off, which should have only took 5 minutes. The journey took them 45 minutes, but on the way, they stopped the car. One of the occupants got out to run back to Liverpool late to go and get a car to drive back. I thought, no. One of them said he was seen at 10 o'clock. He wasn't seen at 10 o'clock. He was seen at 20 past 10, so we reckoned. But they give each other alibis, because the weird thing about it, these were all arrested. They'd had previous for robbing a betting shop, because one of them, who died a few years ago, I believe, from a drug overdose, he was seen as the weak link. They were in a flat behind one of the roads at the back of the betting shop off Beaumont Street, and they were discussing the case in a flat. The girl who was the leaseholder wasn't allowed into her own bedroom.
Yeah.
So because of what she'd heard that day, she had to leave the flat, scared for her own life,
Yeah.
and go and live with her brother somewhere else in Liverpool. And then a couple of days later, her ma forced her to go to the police station to change her version of events.
Right. Now you say that somebody else dropped your name
That's right.
and everything. So like when I say, why did they pick you up? And you said you got picked up on Lodge Lane. What were you doing? You said you were carrying some kind of copper tank or something?
No, what happened is I was with my co-accused and a mate of his. I used to live on the 20th floor of Twistle Lights in the late 70s, and we've come down one day and we're walking around the back, which is just empty waste ground. We got stopped by police. I proved I actually lived in the Heights, so I was just let go. The other two got pulled in for having a copper tank from one of the flats. So they got took to Wavertree Road police station. Now, the person who had the copper tank on him took the rap. So the other kid asked for an interview with the police. In that interview, he said, I had jobs planned to do, and he said I was going to be armed with them. Now, the same kid was staying with me in the flat in Twistle Lights, and a couple of days before I got arrested, the police come to the flat. He went outside. Whatever got said, I don't know, but he was told not to go near any of the jobs. The police watched the jobs that were supposed to have been getting done for a week, and nothing happened. That's how my name went in the frame.
So now, all right. So now this brings us to the fact that after these 48 hours, after browbeating you and talking to you and demanding and fighting with you and all this kind of stuff, force you to write the confession and stuff, and you go off to trial.
Yes.
And everything like that. Now, you can't make this stuff up. So there was 3 juries in this trial.
That's right, yes.
And everything. Yes. Like, so 2 of them got kicked out early, as you say.
Yes. One got kicked out on the first day because the prosecutor opened up with a speech that what one defendant says can't be used against the other unless they go in the dock and actually say it in the dock. So the first jury got kicked out on that ground. The second jury come in, started again. That got kicked out the next day. Why it got kicked out, don't know. We heard rumour that it was down to having a prison officer on the jury, but we don't know. Never found out why.
And then so in the middle of the trial, instead of restarting it, they bring in a third jury
Yes.
and stuff like that. So now also too is that we got to remember that this is 1981. So this is before fingerprints, DNA, all of these kind of things.
Yes.
And I don't even think they found the murder weapons even, did they?
No. The whatever they found in the shop, whether they tested it or not, we've got no proof. All we know that so many exhibits went to the forensic lab in Chorley, and nothing come back. Now, I'm not sure it was the application by the Innocent Project by Bristol University who asked the CCRC to ask the police whether there was any exhibits. They come back and said there were 6 slides with stuff on and tried to make up an excuse that they couldn't get DNA. Now, you find people can find mummies thousands of years old and get DNA.
Carbon dating, yeah.
So why couldn't they do that for
Yeah.
these 6 slides? So they just blatantly refused to do DNA.
Now, what
case.
about witnesses in this trial?
Well, there would have been loads of witnesses because you're talking about Lodge Lane. It's on a busy junction with Smithdown going down one end, Upper Parliament on the other, Tunnel Road on the other. Now, you're talking about the junction where you got the Boundary pub on one side. Next door to the Boundary used to be a garage. There was people working on the roof doing whatever they were doing at the time. So they said there was
Yeah,
a
the
pub.
Mecca bin.
Yes, there was a public toilet where the bus stop was outside, which is now where like
It's a shop
store.
now.
It's a shop now. Then across the road, you've got the bingo wall. Then you've got the side street, which I wasn't aware went right round. So behind the back of the betting shop was all masonettes that went all the way down to Kingsley Road. But if you go round the back, there's 2 ways out. You can get out onto Beaumont Street, or you can get out onto Upper Parley, where
Yeah.
there's a church on Upper Parley. So there's 2 ways you could have gone out the back way, or the side without getting seen, because the front entrance was supposed to have been open, the actual gate, where people had to divert across the path because it was blocking people's path from walking on the pavement.
Now the problem is that nowadays, these are waste grounds now, and it's interesting about how like you did a little video, showing the streets and stuff, and like that it was a row of masonettes. Like I live in a masonette,
Yeah.
right? So I mean that's a row of eyewitnesses.
Yes, it is.
So if the police actually were like the police on television, where they go around and they investigate crime and stuff like that, they would have had to actually go into at least one of those masonettes, right? And everything to just find out, was there any noise, were there any people running or anything like that. But, seems that didn't occur. And so the trial lasted for 19 days. And everything, and you were sentenced. And what was your sentence?
My sentence was life with a 15-year recommendation at the time of the judge.
And this was all like I'm just hanging out at some girl's house and everything, and don't know what the hell's going on when I get picked up and everything. And then I'm held for 48 hours, and I'm told that I did something heinous and everything like that, and and everything's against me.
Yeah.
And stuff, Now, I'm not going to, that's probably a story for another day, but I'm not going to go into life in prison, just the fact that you survived it. But this is where the story changes from the innocent man to Morgan Freeman and the Shawshank Redemption, because you had to come up for parole at least about 8 times.
No, 12 times.
Okay. That's still a lot. And because you were there for 15 years, then that turned it to 36 years in total.
Yeah. 36 years in total. In total, I was moved 64 times because of my, what they say, subversive behaviour. So at the end, I got let out from HMP Kennet, which used to be part of Ashworth. It was in Ashworth grounds, but it's now shut, and I'm not sure if it's gone back to Ashworth. But the governor there said it was his project to get me out, I actually knew this governor from Garth years ago. He said, I remember you. You was one pain in the backside. I
Mm.
remember having to wrap you up a few times with the other staff. He said, my project is to help you and get you out, which, given us you, he did. It was probably the first governor I would say that was fair.
Well, he also said, play the game a little bit, didn't he? I mean, because even though you're professing your innocence all this time, it was kind of like you could do better outside than inside.
Oh, that was people who were actually fighting my case. One person who's well known, who's been on TV quite a lot, called Bruce Kent. It used to be Monsignor Bruce Kent. Uh, he was fighting my corner all the time. And he said, look, Ray, just shut up. And certain people, some of my cousins saying, just shut up and get out. You can fight it outside. Billy has been in my corner for donkey's years. I used to go to school with Billy, and he's been fighting on my behalf as well. My wife is fighting on my behalf as well. It's these people saying to me, look, you've got no better way than getting out there, getting out into areas that you wouldn't be able to inside, and speaking to people. I mean, I could have spoke to people inside on the phone. On the phone,
Yeah.
but I thought, no, I'm not getting caught with a phone and getting knocked back. You know what I mean? So
Now, I mean,
didn't.
the thing about it is that this is really a supreme case of bad luck going batter, but just to say what even is a worse side of the story is that you had a co-appeal. I mean, you had a guy who was quoting you, and he, even though when you got inside, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? I'll get my lawyer, you're your lawyer. You know what I mean? And everything. And he managed to only serve 19 years in total
Yes.
and stuff because for some reason, maybe he had a better lawyer. I don't know. But he managed to find some witnesses that they didn't give to you or whatever, right? So tell us that.
Well, he managed to find an alibi to prove that he wasn't there. Also, the ID parade on his ID parade was proved to be they breached the rules on the ID where there should have been 12 people on his parade, but they actually wasn't, and he was picked out. But there was at least three other.
Oh, you mean the lineup, right?
Yes.
All right. See, I was wondering what kind of parade we
There
talking
was
about.
at least three other people picked out on my parades,
Yeah.
but they were never taken anywhere and asked any questions. And then there was 201 witness statements that were denied to the defence at trial, which opens up a minefield of people that could have done it, and the people that who were the original suspects.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen to me. It must be hard to stay true to your convictions and everything, especially after that happened. But I mean, you did, and you managed to get out and taste freedom in 2016. Now, you said you were also on like some type of like work release, right before then. So you managed to taste the outside, but it's interesting, because I like to, look at things from a different way. It's interesting from a man from 1981 to walk the streets in 2016. It must be like time travel. Right? Not like Back to the Future, but you know what I mean? Because they had no cell phones, no cable, and all that other kind of stuff. Just tell me, what was life like, living, not just being on work release, getting out like a day here and day there, whatever, but living outside in 2016?
It was, as I say, I come out, I had cousins and a couple of me brothers at the time used to pick me up, and I used to stay in theirs. Okay, I was in the hostel. I used to go back to the hostel for the 11 p.m. each night, but all day I was out with them. They'd take me out for meals, take me to round family. So I was getting used to. I think the only thing that I probably found strange was how to use a phone.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive anyway, so driving
driving,
didn't make no odds to me then at the time, because my cousins used to drive me here, or me brother at the time used to take me here, there and there. So yes, it was different, you know what I mean? But as I say, technology you have to get used to.
Well, you had to get used to it because, like, now that you came out, you wanted to continue to profess your innocence, and so you've been doing your best. You're like on Twitter, you're on Instagram, Facebook. You're just trying to keep your story alive, and you have to do that through social media and everything, don't you?
Yes.
You know, and everything, and you're constantly doing that. So, one of the last things I want to talk about is that so there's this new thing, which is somewhat of an old thing. I mean, like if people like myself watch television, you know, there was that great show called Lie to Me, you know, with Tim Roth, where it was all about, you know, he can always tell a liar, right? You know, like, you know, something in your eyes or something like that. I forgot what they call it, like rapid eye movement, whatever. But there's a test now, and I mean, I think it's fairly new. I don't know how new it is, but you had taken this test. You know, it's a yeah. You tell me what you called it again. ID
It was,
detector test.
yes. It was an eye detector test in which you sit in front of a computer.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a thing like this. You put your eye on it. You put your
It's like a
chin
retina
on it.
scan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a circle comes up on the laptop.
Yeah.
And it configurates your eyes, so it
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
the eyes to what degree it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to look at a green light, and it moves. You got to move with it, so it gets your eyes perfect. And then it comes up on the screen with question. Right now, the question's telling you to lie. If you can't lie, you can't do the test.
Yeah.
So when you do the test, you've got to lie on this question. Then it comes up. It'll ask you questions on the case, other questions that you have to false or true, and some of the questions are lies, but you've got to be able to prove that you can lie as well to actually
Yeah.
pass the test. So,
Yeah, it's kind of like I think it's something like when people lie, their eyes go up or down or whatever and everything like that, and you can't fake it. You know,
no, you can't. No, you can't. Because,
control. You can't do any of that.
you can't fake it. 'Cause
No.
the minute you move, it will register
Yeah.
on the laptop where he's
Because it's not
sitting
your
down.
face, it's not your head, it's your eyes.
your
You
eyes,
can't
yeah.
you can't control that.
Well, it's always say your eyes can't lie, innit?
So when you were asked about the stabbing and you scored high with an 81 out of 100, saying that it's truthful.
Yeah.
And everything. So, but unfortunately, these tests are not admissible completely as yet because you said they're using like sex offense cases and all that kind of stuff. But it's not as admissible, so it's not enough to get you a new trial or anything like that. But you know, so basically, what you're looking for right now is you're looking for people to kind of like come out of their comfort zones. I know this is like 41 years ago, but any help and support that you know you can give Raymond by whether it was your parents, your grandparents, or whatever, you know, that may have been around at that point in time that can remember anything, you know, because we all know that we come from closed communities and all of that other kind of stuff. But sometimes you gotta hear a case like this and realize the injustice that was delivered upon this man, and then also to realize that you know whether you believe he's innocent or guilty, the point is the fact that this is some crazy case, you know, because it's a series of unlikely events that you know kind of didn't break your spirit, and that's what I got to say for you. Did it? You know, I mean, because you're just you know continuing to be strong in your convictions, aren't you?
I am, yes, I'm strong. I mean, because at the end of the day, I know I did not do the crime. People know I didn't do the crime. I'm just asking people to look at themselves and hopefully come forward and give that evidence to get this case back to appeal.
But you also said that you also think of the victim's family as well, who also need justice as well.
That's right.
And everything. So I mean, like, so it's not just about you in that aspect, you know, because you know at the end of the day, you know, a man was killed, and you know, and the killers could potentially still be out there, and everything. So like in that fashion is the fact that you know this. I mean, you know, feel free, you know, to make comments below. Right, but also too is I want to Ray to be able to give you his socials, so that way you can continue following his story. So like I know, and the thing about it is you have like two of these. So just say the one that you want people to go to.
They can go to, is it called Wix? They can go to Wix on,
No, the one that's on Twitter, Ray Ray Justice.
well, Ray Justice
Yeah.
set up on Twitter. You can also go onto YouTube and have a look at all the videos on YouTube if they are
Under what
interested.
though?
Pardon?
Under what was it called?
It's just Ray Gilbert's videos
Yeah. Yeah.
on YouTube.
Okay. So I mean, like, pretty much is like Raymond Gilbert is, like I said, he's out there still telling people about his case, dropping, and some of those articles are like terrible because they say like murderer and stuff like that. But that's how they do. Anyway, either way is. Raymond, I would like to thank you for coming in, telling us your story, and sharing such an experience that's straight out of Netflix. I mean, because it's like I never, when I heard the story, I said, yeah, I definitely need to like have you come in and talk about it. But either way is, if anybody can help or show their support, please look out for Raymond Gilbert on all the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and everything else like that. But for now, I just want to thank you for joining me, Raymond.
Thank you for having me.
And make comments in the bottom below. Just like Ray says, come on, man, don't just like it. Make a comment. Either way, it's like we're out of here. All right.